So these are the tools that you'll need for doing plenum 400 male connector ends. We have a side cutters, and you need to have a bigger one, preferably one that has the curve in it, so that when you're actually cutting the cable, it's not pinching the cable, it's actually just cutting it. A stripping tool, and make sure that you actually get the stripping tool from us. There's other ones on the market that just don't work. A pliers or a needle nose, a larger file, and a crimper for the 400 cable. Again, need to get this from us. Make sure that you have the correct one. So we'll start out by making a fresh cut on the cable. Take your stripping tool, and there is an actual correct way to do this. There's an inside and an outside. There's a diagram on the top that shows you where and how you should be doing it. Put your cable in. Make sure there's just a little bit hanging out the side, not too much, but make sure that there's just enough hanging out the side. Go ahead and go around a couple times and you can feel it cut. Make sure you're not going too deep on the inner pin, and you'll be able to tell that once we pull off the outer section of it. Take your pliers or your needle nose, pull that off. Now we have the connectors themselves. You have a two-piece connector. You have the barrel, and you have the actual end that goes on. This is where you'd want to slide on your barrel because it's a little easier to get it on at that point. You can take your file and actually take off any kind of burrs or anything off the center pin here, and almost go to a pencil point. You don't have to get exact, but get pretty close all the way around. Make sure that there's nothing left on there. Take your pliers or your needle nose, and you want to take off the secondary cut and see how it snaps off versus just falling off. Make sure none of this braiding falls off. If you have any of this falling down from it, you'll have to redo it all the way from the beginning. All of the braiding needs to be there. Push back the braiding, make sure all of it stays good and snug in there and attached. Take the end connector, slide it on, make sure it goes all the way down, nice and firm. Make sure the center pin isn't pushed out any. If the center pin pushes out, you've left too much for that center pin. Slide back up all the braiding. Slide over the barrel connector so it's all the way up nice and snug on it. Take your crimping tool, crimp it once, slide it down exactly in the same spot, crimp it again, so the entire barrel is crimped all the way around.